putting things in context, looking at the Hong Kong story and the Swiss experience. And then for this session, we are having 4 panel members looking at a more regional, looking at Pearl River Delta or maybe China, regional issues, and Hong Kong, looking at challenges in terms of water resources management and the way forward. And then I'm not going to spend time reading out the speakers' bios because they are on our website actually. For this morning's speakers, their bios are also on our website. So please go back to our website if you would like to know more about our speakers and panel members. For this panel session, and then we are, just like what I mentioned earlier, we have 4 people sitting on this panel, and then the first one speaking will be Debra Tan from China Water Risk, and then the speaking order will be, and then for Mr. Yerp Alcina from EBP, and then Mr. Enoch Lam from Water Supplies Department, our government in Hong Kong, and then last but not least, Ms. Su Liu, Hong Kong Water Focus. So without further ado, I'm going to have Debra sharing your insights in 7-10 minutes.
Now it does. Whoa. Right, China's water issues in 7 minutes. That could be a real challenge. But I think everyone in this room is going to put up their hand if I sort of said, are you worried about China's water? Yes, right? Okay, so we can get past that one. I think most of the people recently in China, there's a new documentary out called Under the Dome. It's about air pollution in China. This is a great hit. Right, it's very obvious. We can look out of the window. You know, we have no choice but to breathe air. It's received over 100 million views very quickly. Last year, there were a couple of documentaries out on polluted water. Of course, it didn't reach that kind of viewership. Right. So why is it that we worry more about air than we do about water? You know, because after all, these are both our basic essentials, right? So there's a lot of questioning also this year amongst the water professionals in China. How come our documentaries didn't get this much viewership? You know, it didn't kind of fly off the shelf on social media. And I think it could be a couple of things, because people think they have water because you switch on the tap, you have water, and that's the only kind of water that we think about. We don't really think about water for energy, water for agriculture, that's a bit more obvious, and also then now the water, energy, and climate nexus. In India and China, we have to add on a lot of power. Right. They're nowhere near the kind of kilowatt per capita that they should be at as developed countries. If these 2 countries were going to add on a lot of power, they're going to have profound influences on climate change globally. And so their energy policy matters. Now, pretty much all of the power that they're going to add is going to be reliant on water. And this is going to be a problem. India and China add a lot of power with not a lot of water. So we are facing in Asia the sort of biggest challenges ahead in the water, energy, climate nexus. If we add on too much coal or gas or any of those power which emits too much carbon, then we're really sort of talking about not just the melting of Switzerland's water towers, it's also the melting of the Himalayan water towers. Over the last 15 years, we've already lost 8,000 square kilometers of glaciers in China. And that's pretty much equivalent to 8 Hong Kongs or a fifth of Switzerland. And that's just in glacial loss. If we do not do hydro, and hydro has a lot of issues, then this is also going to be a bigger problem. If we do renewables and etc., a lot of the renewable ores in China also sit at watershed heads, like the Dongjiang. If there's not enough water protection and conservation laws there, then they're also going to be affected. And then there are a few people in this room who also work in those upper watersheds and have issues with rare earth mining. And rare earth mining is only going to grow going forward because renewables are going to grow. Every single energy-saving turbine, every single wind turbine, every single solar turbine, solar panel actually includes a heavy rare earth element in there. And most of these heavy rare earths also come from China. So it's like a round circle. We can't really get away from it. We need to start looking at our whole watershed system, from the glaciers all the way down to the sea. Right. On hydropower dams, I think Ray, you mentioned earlier on, there's probably about there will be probably 111 gigawatts of hydroelectric dams on just the the Yangtze River alone. Now, this will hold back a lot of silt. Perhaps Shanghai will sink as a result of this, etc., etc. So we need to sort of think about these things, right, and holistically. We can't just sort of look at these things separately, and I think Hong Kong fits into part of that system. So I encourage you to all sort of start thinking regionally here, and not just regionally but globally. And we would appreciate any thoughts to try and solve this, because it is a big problem, and nowhere have we actually in our history come across this, because the Western world has developed with available water like the 3,000 meters cubed, not like the Indians and China, which actually don't have that amount, but yet have to add the same amount of electricity. Thanks.
Thanks.